Hello everyone, this is a request by Miles Horton to cover Lancelot in the support role. Now, I have been testing this pretty extensively for the past 3 days. In fact, I'd never played Lancelot before that request, and then once I got that request, I just started playing him almost exclusively, and almost exclusively in the support role. I think he's Mastery 4 now. Just know that there's been a lot of testing. Now, Lancelot in the support role is very, very interesting. He's single-handedly the most unique support I've ever played because he's the only support I now categorically refuse to build. Well, we'll talk about builds in a bit. Let's actually talk about his advantages as a support first. I'll talk about builds. That gets crazy. Now, Lancelot as a support, he's got a push on his second ability. When he's on his horse, he has the choice between a slow or a root. His ult has a cripple on it. He has a health shield when he's on his horse that grows over 4 seconds. And finally, the larger his bar is, the more movement speed he gets on his horse, or the less basic attack damage he takes from in front of him when he's off his horse. It's that bar that becomes so interesting to Lancelot as a support, because even as a support, and especially, in fact, as a support, you want that bar filled. Alright, even more than the jungler. A jungle Lancelot just wants that bar filled so he can move as quickly as possible on the horse. The basic attack damage reduction is nice, but what's really important for a jungle Lancelot is that delightful movement speed. A solo lane Lancelot, which I also tested, doesn't care so much about either unless his laning opponent is an auto attacker, in which case the basic attack reduction is fairly nice. I believe it caps at 10% damage reduction from auto attacks. Possibly a solo lane Lancelot might use it mid-game to rotate a little bit earlier than the enemy's solo lane. It really depends on how well Lancelot is doing, but it's not really consistent. But support Lancelot wants both of these. You want the decreased basic attack damage because, again, as I've stated numerous times before, a lot of Guardians, I'm not even going to say Guardians, a lot of supports fare poorly against Hunters, at least in the current meta, because of Executioner and how much damage that can deal, as well as chin size and auto attack speed in general. So supports tend to have a problem with this, but Lancelot has less of a problem with this. Now, don't get arrogant and just assume that you can ignore auto attackers wholesale, because you can't. You still take a decent amount of damage, but you're just not going to die as quickly to them. It gives you a little bit of leeway. But because that bar fills when Lancelot gets minion kills or god kills or assists, he's the only support I will say this about. You don't necessarily want to get minion assists. Now, the way I usually approach Lancelot is Bluestone Pendant right into Mystical Earring, into... what? Oh, we're pausing. Into Mystical Earring, grab whatever relic you prefer. In this particular situation, our laning opponent is going to be Uller and Atlas, most likely. Let me see. We've got some good auto attacks. I'll probably start with Horrific Curse, is what I'll likely start with as my relic, and then I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of health potions. Now, the reason for this particular combination of starter items, for the Bluestone Pendant, besides the fact that Lancelot slaps pretty hard as a support because he's actually an assassin, not a guardian, so he does a decent amount of early game damage. But you also, again, you shouldn't really be shy about killing minions. You shouldn't go out of your way for them. There have been times where I've held back because my ADC really needed the, just really needed that golden experience, so it's not like you're going to go out of your way to steal them, but if you accidentally kill some minions, that's not a problem. Now, wow. Also, it's important to note that you shouldn't be trying to kill gods. You still shouldn't be, because that's not going to matter. You should be trying to, lock them down and get them killed the old-fashioned way via your ADC. That's how you should typically approach that still. So that doesn't change. It's just minions. It's okay if you kill minions off with this. Gauntlet of Thebes, Protector's Mask, I believe it's still called that, right? Protector's Mask, yep. And Sentinel's Gift really don't work too well on him because, in a strange twist of fate, he wants a certain amount of minion kills. So it is very odd for that particular reason. He is the only support I say this with. Now, the mystical earring is very important because Lancelot is also one of 3 gods in the support role that I've ever played who has such a severe mana problem that you need a little bit extra. Now, I tried numerous ways. I tried Protector's Mask. I tried using Sentinel's Gift. I didn't set my mouse correctly. Whoops. I tried Sentinel's Gift. I tried literally everything. The only thing that consistently works is the Mystical Earrings with the MP5, because that is a cheap enough item that I can, in fact, buy all the health potions I need, but it's also strong enough MP5 effect that I don't need to be buying mana potions or anything like that. Now, you'll notice I could have hit Atlas there. I made a mild adjustment to not hit Atlas. The reason, oops, completely with that. The reason why I didn't hit Atlas is because that would have caused it would have caused their minions to follow me, but our minions were pushing them so hard that they backed off. Now I'm going to pull that mini aggro because I don't want Cupid to have it. There we go. Good play by Uller. I'm just going to poke... Okay, I was trying to poke Uller as well. I missed. But, okay. We're probably not going to win this at all, though, because we are missing Heimdall. Probably just a connection issue. It happens. Why are we going so aggressive here? It's fine, I guess. Now, there is something I do have to very specifically warn you about, and this is the second reason I didn't pull meeting aggro on that first wave. You're so squishy compared to your competition. You are basically, for the early game, and this is why it's so important to build Bluestone, not only do you get MP5 out of Bluestone, but it's going to kind of cover for the fact you've got literally no defense at this point. You are looking to clear the wave as quickly as possible and use that as a living barrier, basically. That's fine. We're just trying to poke him down at this point, so we can come over here safely and take this. Good. Good, I blocked that. Cupid's right here. I don't know how... Oh, I know how the hell I got that. That was Bluestone. Unfortunate, but not crippling. He still got the assist. It's a bit unfortunate that he wasn't able to confirm that kill. We're actually just going to poke you with that. And then we're going to apparently heal ourselves randomly here. Ouch. But he probably wants me to take that for the mana. He completely whiffed that, which is nice. Now, Lancelot in the support role is the only one in which you want to increase the horse. That is a health shield. That is your root, which is easily one of your more powerful crowd controls, one of your more consistent crowd controls. We're not going to use that here, though, because we actually want to do this. There we go. So you want to increase that horse, mostly for the health shield. That is your entry into fights, and it is very potent of a health shield indeed. The number of times I've been saved by this health shield would probably astound you. Alright, you want to increase that horse first. The second ability you want to increase, it really depends on what you prefer to do on the horse. I prefer the root, so I level my 2 next. However, if you're a bigger fan of the slow because it's ranged, increase that. That's going to be down to more your personal preference. That's going to take some experimentation on your part. In this particular instance, see, I usually prefer the second because when I'm on the ground, I actually have a little bit more leeway to play around with the second ability, which is, you know, the push as well, so that's fairly nice. We're just going to go in ahead and slap him here. I completely whiffed that. That's fine. And what are you doing? Did he ult them? He did. He ulted my boy there. And now while we have these minions here... Worthy sacrifice. Support for ADC, and then he picks up the Atlas. Okay, Atlas gets that kill. That's actually a... Did Uller get me as the kill? No, he did not. Alright, hugely worth. Now, we are still going to finish Manticore's Spike. Not for the passive. That's really not going to do you much good. You will eventually want that anyways, so... But at this particular point, it's for the MP5. It's for the dual protections. It is a really nice spike. Now, at this particular point, we are going to be looking at what we'll be customizing our build to from here. Because now that we have Manticore Spike, and we've got sort of a baseline of both protections, we're now going to need to adjust to more specific... protections. So at this particular point in time, I've got a couple of different options. I could go Sovereignty, absolutely. Okay. I'm almost the same level as you, my guy. Alright. I don't really care, I have my ult. Now, the ult is also fairly interesting. You don't need to level that up past level 1. It's your cripple, it gives you the health shield. It's also another reason why you want to increase that third ability right away. Oh, we have Heimdall! He came back. Okay, we actually might be able to salvage this episode. Perfect. But what we're currently looking at here is, you know, at this point we've got our MP5, we've got Manticores, we have a nice baseline of protections. Right now I'm looking at two possibilities. I'm looking at Sovereignty, or I'm looking at... Do you have ult? I have no idea if he has ult. I don't know if I just wasted Horrific. It does not seem like he's got ult. I just accidentally keep killing people. Okay. We good? We're good. We're going to throw this down here just because we can, and we're going to get the hell out of that. What are you doing, guy? Okay. Oh, there's that. Root him in that. See what we can do here. Okay, not... Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, that worked out really well. We have, I need to get out of here. I'm not exactly... Again, I'm not that tanky. Even though it looks like I've got enough to work with right now, it would still be pretty risky. I probably could still do a little bit more. Where's Kukulkan? There's no way. No, Cupid's fine for now, so we're gonna go back. I'm kind of looking at, you know what I want, which I don't build often on him, but I think it's the situation. Witchblade is kind of what I'm looking at here. So after Witchblade, which is going to be pretty nice, the next thing I'm going to be looking at is going to be Pridwen. Now, I built Witchblade very specifically because the enemy team is predominantly physical, and they have a couple of auto-attackers. Atlas technically counts. I count him as an auto-attacker because of his little auto-attack usage of his second ability there, so is he gonna stay around? Nope. All right, we'll leave that alone. We're gonna leave these alone because Cupid needs those. Cupid is... That's gonna put him a little behind, but let's drop this for him, or help him with this anyways. But if the enemy team had an even balance of physical and magical, I would probably have gone straight into Pridwen right after Manticore Spike, because again, with 2 physicals, 3 magics, that's a pretty evenly balanced distribution of damage types. So I would have probably just gone straight into good old Pridwen on that point. Just kill him really quick. Now I did that intentionally because I was really afraid Ulrun wouldn't be able to finish him off. There was a lot of minions there, Atlas was there, it was getting really messy really quickly. We're actually going to go back, and then we're going to gank Uller. because Olerin doesn't need me there right now. You can see we've got a decent amount of our bar there. We're about a third of the way there, so we're going to get some decent movement speed out of this. Cupid just needs to hold on. He's got his ult. He really needs to use this ult to stay alive here at this point. I'm kind of concerned. No, we're fine? Okay. My ultimate will be ready by the time I get there. There it goes. He didn't even need me. He did not even need me. That is fantastic. Alright, we're going back to mid then. And this is really the great thing about... One of my favorite things about Lancelot as a support is his ability to rotate hyper quickly. Also, the amount of things you can avoid just by jumping off your... What are you doing here? Off your horse is absolutely incredible. I didn't mind running through the tornado because, obviously, health shield from my ult. It's fine. Now, Pridwin is supremely strong on Lancelot. I'll talk about the benefits of Manticores a little bit later. There's more to Manticores and more reasons to build Manticores than just the MP5. It's just why you start with it. But whenever you bounce off of... You might have seen the spikes. I'm not really sure. I haven't been going too hard for them because it's too early in the game for them to matter too much. But you might have seen where spikes have been dropping as I'm rooting people. And, of course, you can root people off the horse as well, so that's pretty nice. You actually... It's pretty easy to get Manticore spikes with Lancelot, even though, theoretically speaking, his push should also be generating them, because it's a hard crowd control, and I'm not sure why it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it's a glitch, but theoretically speaking, he should be generating at least 2, or he should be generating spikes according to 2 different abilities. Alright. That was a complete waste on my part. That's his beads, though, so that's fine. Nice job, nice job. Alright. Increasing this here. He's fine over there. It got sketchy, obviously, but he made it. Alright. Yep. I'm not too concerned. That's actually why I'm doing this. Okay, we have... I mean, I have my ult, so I'm not that worried about it. Good. Force that ability. Ah, that's not a problem. It's not a problem. We're fine. Is he chasing me? He is. That's kind of silly. You might be fast enough to catch up to me. No, we're fine. I'm probably going to die for this, but that's fine. Oh, nope, wait, we really need to help Olerin over here. Nope, I was gonna say, I don't want to accidentally steal that. I have no interest in accidentally... Okay. Come here. Nice miss. Good, good. Oh, here's Kukulkan. He's gonna kill me. Yep. That's fine, that's fine. My next move is going to be Pridwin. Now, Pridwin's hyper important. I never actually got to this, but Pridwin is super important for Lancelot because after you ult... and you're just hanging around on your horse, your ult gives you the max shield that you can get from your horse. So in this particular case, my max health shield is 740, right? Plus the Pridwen shield. So you have an absolutely massive health shield when you use your ult. It is glorious. And having that in about the mid-game gives you a decent Pridwen shield. You're also building this for the cooldown as well, because obviously when you're playing support Lancelot, you really want those abilities. It's very important for you to have those up. So just keep that in mind. No, no, no. Come back here. Come here. The glory of the push. There we go. And then I can probably catch up to him. The question is, where is he going to go? He went for the tower. He's going to make it. That's fine. That is perfectly okay. That's actually really great. That was huge for Heimdall, because that's going to give him the opportunity to catch back up, which is pretty important. What is this? We're going to just try to keep... That was a good move by Kukulkan. Alright, we did keep Kukulkan off. Now it's just fella here. Good. No, we're fine. Been a long time since I've seen a Jungle Hercules, by the way. Nope. Nope. Ah, that's a shame. We'll have to avenge him. No, I missed that. That's a shame. Missed that too. I missed the root of that anyways. I need to get out of here. I don't have the mana for this. Oh, okay. Ah, that's a shame. That's a shame. That's okay. Oh, here's Heimdall. That's exciting. He's a little... Oh, is he gonna... No, he's not gonna make that. That's a shame. That's not a huge problem. We'll have Knight's Shield by the time we come back, so that's gonna be nice. Cupid, unfortunately, does not have his ult. That was a near miss. Here's Knight's Shield. We also have enough for, I don't know why I was in here for that. Nope, not this. This. And then we're going to try and participate in that fight as much as possible. It looks like it's actually over, so I'm just going to go for the health buff. And this is another fun thing about Lancelot. He can clear his own health buff with not much trouble. Just because of Bluestone. Now, you'll also notice, yes, Bluestone was built because it has MP5. It allows you to kind of reverse the usual... you're basically replacing your defensiveness for... your tankiness for damage, which can be fairly effective. Are we actually clearing this? Okay, I should have been paying a bit more attention. That's on me. I didn't think we were seriously clearing this. That's fine. I'm not too concerned. I have my ult. That was silly. You know, we're fine, we're fine. I'm not seriously trying to do anything here. I'm just hanging around. Alright. Okay. Increase this. Again, we really don't care about increasing our ult. I kind of want to... Yeah. I really should be tanking this. I'm not sure why I'm not, but alright. More power to you. Okay. Ouch! Alright. Aha! That's beads. That's pain. Okay, that's near survival. How are you? You must be... You are so incredibly fast. Okay, that's fair enough. Grab Pridwin. We're going to need something a little bit more extreme. I'm going to have to go Cursed Ankh here, if I'm not mistaken. He's got self-heal, obviously. He's got some self-heal going on here. He could... Yeah, I think Ankh is the move. Going to be really honest. Alright, so... We're having a bit of an issue here, definitely. He's been doing fairly well for himself. Now, this... Lancelot works well right now in the current meta, primarily because right now in the current meta, you can't really get away with a purely defensive support anymore. Supports really need to be doing at least some damage, which is why I don't mind building Bluestone. But you also have to kind of keep in mind that Bluestone is going to be literally the only damage item you'll be building, because since your starter item is not providing you protections, and support starter items are pretty effective at providing you defense. It's something you really gotta be careful with, and you really have to adjust the rest of your build accordingly. There we go. I don't care if I die. Cupid got Kukulkan, which is pretty important. He got out alive, which is also pretty important. We did some good damage to their tower, which is nice. At this point now, I'm looking at, alright, what else does my team need? What else are we thinking of here? Alright, right now I want some magic protections, because Kukulkan's been slapping me pretty damn hard. So I'm going to be thinking about, I'm looking at Pestilence here, in all honesty. So I'm going to grab Pestilence, because I want anti-heal for Vamon and King Arthur. Ullr's got some access to lifesteal if he uses his axes, and combined with Hydra's Lament, he might actually do pretty well with that lifesteal. It really depends on how he plays and how effective he is with that, but it's not a risk I'm willing to take right now. We are fairly evenly matched, except for Heimdall, and that's not his fault, but he is catching up, but I do want to give him that sort of time he needs, and having some anti-heal would really help. I can always swap it out later for something else if I need to, but for the short term, I really want that Pestilence. Hey, King Arthur, how you doing? No, you can stop that now. You have beads. The hell do you have beads for? Yeah? There's Famon again. This is definitely going to be a problem. We're just going to try to... Okay, keep you separate. Alright, that did not work well. Who is... That's Famon. Come on. Get him. Yes. Alright, good. Increase our first ability. Throw this down. I see you there. You better get out of here. I'm not sure we kill him here. Cupid, please. Cupid, please. I have my spike. I missed. I died, but he took him with me, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Not an ideal outcome by no means, but good enough. Let's just put it that way. And I was able to put my sentry ward down during that whole fiasco as well. It looks like we're going to be able to get the Pyromancer, which is going to be really nice. Yep. Alright. So that was overall a win. We actually not only were able to win the team fight, but we got something out of it. So that was really good to see. I am falling behind a little bit, but that's just part of the nature of Lancelot. Because Lancelot is weird when you build him, where his mid-game is a really rough spot for him. Because Bluestone is no longer hitting as hard. You're not quite at the point where Manticore's spike is hitting really hard. Pridwin, of course, is hitting okay. It's this weird part. For support Lancelot, the mid-game is the roughest part, because all of his items don't quite do enough yet for it to be that impactful. Right? Pridwin's shield isn't that high because you don't have full build. You don't have full max HP because you're not level 20 and you don't have all your items. So Manticore's spike isn't that big of a deal. At this point, the flat damage from Bluestone is falling off. Okay. So, you know, that's decreasing. Oh, we've got... Yep, there we go. Okay. But this is the ugly part for Lancelot. This is where it gets rough. You turn around again in the late game, and you'll see that later on. So I'm not, like, concerned, but it is something you have to be aware of, that your weakest point in the game is mid-game. Hands down, no holds barred. Can we just straight up take this, please? Like, I'm a support. I don't care. I'll take some damage, and it's going to put us in a really interesting situation team-wise, but I've got some decent HP 5. Here's Vamon. He's lost a bit of HP, which is good, because he's pretty much the only reason I've died at this point. What is King Arthur doing? Dying. Perfect. Let's see if we can take him. Let's lock you down. There you go. I've got my ult. I don't want to... Okay, we're diving for this. Alright. That's both of their... That's their beads and ult. That's fine. How you doing? I whiffed that completely. Let's bring you in here. That's fine. That's fine. We're going to retreat. I don't want to push this yet. I don't think we're strong enough for this. No idea what the hell Heimdall's doing, but okay. And then we're just going to fly in here to deal with this here. Ooh, I only chose to jump off the horse because it's level 5 compared to level 4 of my other ability. That's why that choice was made there. Again, if you have the preference for the other one, you would have had that leveled up, and you would have been using that one. Alright. Good. And then we have both of our abilities here. Now, the first ability, you might think... I actually haven't talked about this, but the first ability you might assume, yeah, it's not going to do anything for a support Lancelot because it doesn't have any CC. Well, no, it allows you to adjust where your push is. That is entirely used to sort of create the direction, the angle you want for that push. That is what that is used for. It's used that way for all roles of Lancelot's. But at the very least, with the other two rolls, it tends to hit really hard as well. Obviously, I only have 22 power here. And Bluestone. But... And it is fairly nice with Manticore Spike because it's pretty easy to hit. Obviously, it's just a little short dash with surprisingly good range because, of course, you're busting out a lance. So it works pretty well with Manticore Spike. We can actually probably kill Uller if I was being honest, but... So you can see the spike there. We activate that there. Can we... I don't know if... Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we can save that. Save him there. I thought I had his spike come down, but I guess not. Okay. I'm just trying to... Okay, we're going to reduce the healing here. There's that. Alright. Nope, you stop. I killed him by accident. That's fine. It's better than the ally dying. Run. Run, son. Get him pushed in the corner. Here we go. I can chase him down. That was a cool move by Heimdall there. There we go. There we go. I had the trust. I had the trust. Yeah, that's a bit risky, but sure. I don't think I'm going to live through this, to be honest. I'm not going to. I'll sacrifice. That's fine. Why Ulrin isn't here helping us, I don't know. At this point, I'm just going to tank this out like this. Switch there. There, that's the best I could do. We're going to grab Glad's shield because that's going to help balance out our... It's not a pure damage item like Bluestone is, so but it is going to be enough to give us that little bit of an edge. He needs to get back in there and start throwing axes. There we go. Come on. Okay, that was really close. Holy cow. Alright, at this point, we're going to be leveling up Bluestone. I'm going specifically for Bluestone Brooch, not Corrupted Bluestone. Corrupted Bluestone, I've not found a lot of success with, honestly. Yes, it increases your protections, but I just never found it that useful, in all honesty. I don't know if it's just the way I play Lancelot, which it might be. If you use auto attacks fairly consistently with my boy, maybe it's worth it, but I just don't do that very often. Probably a personal preference thing, if I had to take a guess. But we're going to head back into there, and we're going to defend left as best as we can. And he's going to get slapped if he's not careful. Who else is there? I saw Uller, obviously, but there was somebody else there, too. Atlas. Oh, and King Arthur. That's fine. Oh, we have ultimate? Alright. Oh, okay. I'm dead. Just straight up dead. I'm going to use a horrific curse before I die in an attempt to get something out of that. We should have been in there. We should not have been in there. Don't know how he picked that up, but good job. What does he have? Oh, he just straight up killed him. Okay. They might be able to salvage this fight. Yeah, they're gonna. Oh, it depends on how, whether or not they can kill Vamon. I didn't know Vamon was still in there. I thought he died. No, Vamon's gonna absolutely trash everyone. Ulrin's used his ult. Yeah. Cupid and I should not have been there. We were grossly out of position. I shouldn't have engaged that. That was actually my decision. Cupid just followed my lead. I can't blame the Cupid at all. That was 100% my poor decision. I was like, oh, Cupid's got his ult. We can steal the... I wasn't even intending to team fight there, to be honest. I just wanted the Pyromancer, which we still didn't get. But you are a really nervy bugger. Come on. Boom. That's why you build a little bit of damage on my boy here. Just a little bit. I'm going to be needing to upgrade Bluestone soon. Alright. That's fine. Alright. We have Bluestone. We're going to go on ahead and increase Horrific Emblem. Actually, I can also increase this to get that cooldown down a little bit more. Now, I have to decide at this point, alright, is Is good old Witchblade working out the way I kind of want it to? That's an interesting question. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think I'll keep it. Gotta go over here and help. Whew, that was a bit close. I was kind of concerned when that ult was coming in if he was going to time that right. Alright. We're fine. We're fine. Now you'll notice my bar is... We're approaching the end of the game. My bar is almost filled. That's about what you want. Right? You know, by the end of the game, we should theoretically have a full bar if we've been doing well enough. Get out of my face. No. My goodness. You have no manners. My goodness. Alright. Alright, so we're just trying to create a distraction then. This looks like an opportunity. Oh, there's Vaman. He's going for these people. Okay. Where did he... Oh, there he is. Alright. Now we're going to reduce your healing completely. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I was wondering how that was going to go. You people stop. Oh, not enough. Slow you down. Let's see if we can get this done. Hold on. Nope. Oh, hi. How you doing? Cuckoo Khan. Alright. Alright. Oh. But can he pick them up? Will he survive? Will he pick them up? No. Well, he'll survive probably, to be honest, but he's not going to pick him up. That's a little unfortunate, but that's fine. We'll do this one. It's my favorite one. And we might be able to get Potion of Power, which, again, we can use a little bit. It's unfortunate I died, but at the very least, Ulrun got out of there, so... it was okay. Yeah, Fire Giant should be our next move. Ulrun needs to go back to restore his health, though. Yes, he can heal himself, but it's a very slow process. I don't think he's going to be healed enough by the time that we go for Fire Giant to make that worthwhile. Especially since... Well, no, he's healing off of this. I was going to say he's taking damage from this, but he's healing a ton off of that. What's he got? Oh, holy... No wonder. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going to be warding the Fire Giant when I get there, too. I'm actually going to wait... There we go. I was going to say wait 1 second for that speed boost. And... we got to hurry up and go. How are they doing? How are they doing? Okay, Vaman just ulted. His ult is done. We have that going on. Good. Excellent. We can lock him down. And... No, you don't. Slow down. Ugh. I just wanted to slow him down a little bit more with a slap. Alright. We're going ham. Okay, that did not go nearly as well as I would have liked it to, but... I gave them the time they needed for a nice quick... Shell? Nice. Hold on, I can stop this man. No, I can't. Come here. Nope. I'm gonna die. We need minions? What is that going for? The Phoenix? Surprise! I stayed way too long. But I was hoping they would take the Phoenix. That didn't happen, but that's... I shouldn't have been there either way. Grab another Potion of Power. It's fine. Alright. they should be able to take the Gold Fury if it spawns fast enough. It's going to be the point. Nah, it's not going to spawn fast enough. They're never going to get that. Alright. Now, for more aggressive team compositions than what the enemy team has, you could sell your Bluestone late game for some extra protections if you wanted. I did not choose to because Vaman obviously is going to have a good amount of HP. He's got Protector of the Jungle, Atlas, and King Arthur, decently tanky, so my Bluestone Pendant is actually pretty effective here. It is a little bit of a personal preference, but generally speaking, with slightly tankier comps, because again, Vaman is a warrior, so as a jungler, he's a little bit tankier than your average jungler would be a lot of the time. So it is something you kind of have to keep in mind there. Activate this. Hello. No, we're going to keep you separate from the group for this, because I want my team to kill your team before you start popping around ulting up a storm. No, you don't get the heal. You don't get the heal. I built that specifically for you, damn it. Oh, you're still alive. Never mind. You are no longer alive. I was mildly concerned that there was a lot of wards there. That Kukulkan was going to make an attempt at ulting that. He clearly thought about it. No, you don't. And now we win. We just straight up win. So, as you can hopefully have seen from this episode, I did okay with Lancelot. This was not what I would consider a stellar example of supporting with Lancelot, but we also didn't have our solo laner for the beginning there, so it's fine as an episode. It still demonstrates a lot of his strengths. You also will notice that I didn't spend a whole lot of time in lane. I was bouncing from lane to lane in the early game pretty often, because that's going to be really your huge advantage as Lancelot, is in that early game, in the laning phase. You can rotate way faster than pretty much any of your competition. I'm gonna be honest, unless the enemy support happens to be Mercury or Wheelish, you're gonna out-rotate them, alright? So you have to take advantage of that. You have to press. See, the interesting thing about Lancelot, and this wound up partially the reason why we, as Heimdall said, the comeback was real. The part of the reason why that comeback was possible is because Lancelot is really good in the early game, a lot better than most supports. I've said it numerous times, but the early game is usually the worst period of time for supports, right? Pretty consistently. It's the ugliest time to be a support. However, with Lancelot, because you're building Bluestone as your starter item rather than a support item, your damage output in the early game is so much higher. So as long as you don't make a mistake and die, and I'll talk about what I've encountered with Lancelot that causes that, as long as you don't just straight out die early on, you're in really good shape to snowball your way into a really fantastic victory. Notice that Cupid is 22-6. At least some of that was getting him launched off into a great early game where he could do that. You'll actually notice that I think I ganked his lane twice, maybe? And the second time he didn't even need it because he just ulted Uller and slapped him down. In all honesty, past the first gank, Cupid didn't need anyone. He was pretty much fine. There was the one time he got triple ganked by Atlas and Vaman, and I think that was the only time he died in the laning phase besides in the very early game under the tower. The other 4 deaths were just the team fights and Vaman being a pain in the neck. Regardless, that's what Lancelot is really good at as a support, is that really unusually strong early game, which can throw a lot of enemy supports into a tizzy because, of course, their early game is trash. And you use that momentum to hopefully, in a perfect world, snowball your team into a fantastic victory. And it tends to go that way a lot with Lancelot. In all of the games I've played with support Lancelot, it's been very much one-sided. Either my team snowballs to absolute domination, or the reverse happens. We just sputter and die, right? And it really depends on if your ADC is willing to aggress with you. Cupid was willing to aggress with me. He was right there with me. He really picked up what I was laying down, which is fantastic recognition on Cupid's part. Just as a shout out to Maury Body Pillow. Fantastic reading of the situation. Great player. If I had a much more timid ADC, this probably would have gone a lot different. Now, back to the Heimdall. Yes, we were missing Heimdall in the early game, but because I was such an aggressive support, not specifically Lancelot, but because my support character was so aggressive and doing so much early game damage, to some extent I could compensate for the loss of Heimdall. I was able to, for instance, pressure mid lane a little bit more than you would normally expect because I was actually doing some decent damage, and Kukulkan had very good reason to avoid me, right? Vamon had to pay a little bit more attention. Atlas had to pay a little bit more attention to mid lane when I was there, or dual lane when I was there. Although they actually kind of ignored dual lane after my, with the exception of that one triple gank, with the exception of that triple gank, they really ignored Cupid in the laning phase, which was fairly interesting, but we'll talk about that at a later point in time. But I was able to, again, apply that pressure and help a lot. Now, it still would have been up in the air if the Heimdall hadn't been really awesome. Another shout out to Astral. Absolutely fantastic player. Great gameplay. Focused on farming in the early game. Absolutely great. I was able to, again, because of the way I built and because of Lancelot being Lancelot, I was able to turn around and deal some damage in those mid lane team fights and still be tanky enough for my team. Again, his interesting point is he falls off in the mid game, and then you kind of are working to recover back to where you should be in the late game, right? That's really how that works for Lancelot, which is an interesting change from most supports, right? They start low at the beginning of the game. They kind of increase in power and significance as the game goes on, as they build their protections, as they, get their assists and they build up. Lancelot starts pretty high because he's doing really significant amounts of damage as a support, and then he slowly declines in the mid game before he spikes again in the late game when your build is finished, assuming you weren't pub stomped into the ground in the mid game, which almost happened to me a couple of times. I almost fell too far behind. That's actually why I was checking the scoreboard in the mid game so frequently. I was trying to see where I was compared to Atlas, because I was really concerned that if Atlas caught up to or pulled past me, I was not going to have the kind of impact I needed to have. Right? I was using Atlas as kind of my measuring stick. Now, again, Bluestone isn't just important because it's providing you with a hefty amount of early game damage, it's also providing you with HP and MP5, right? That's pretty important for Lancelot. Again, he is one of 3 supports who uses an intense amount of mana. I actually didn't start building earrings until I saw an enemy tier support build basically the same way, Bluestone with the earrings, the tier 1 earrings. Worked great for him. Absolutely fantastic. I don't remember the player's name. I'm so sorry, but if you might know who you are. Shout out to you. Fantastic idea. I had not tried that. I had thought about it, but I didn't play it because I was concerned that it would make Lancelot too squishy in the early game. And if you get too aggressive and something unfortunate happens, like you get stuck on the minion wave, which has happened to me, or your laning opponents have enough crowd control and they just absolutely slap you down, which is possible. Uller didn't hit enough stuns in the early game, that's fine, it turned out well, but if he'd hit more stuns, I could have been in much more trouble. Things of that nature, that can really set Lancelot back, right? That can be a pretty severe problem. But outside of you being just way too aggressive, because there is a limit, even as good as your early game will be with this particular playstyle, even as aggressive as you can get away with, there still is a limit. You shouldn't be like almost tower diving every time. That's a little extreme, in all honesty, so just kind of keep that in mind. But what I would consider must-build items on Lancelot, hands down, would have to be Manticore's Spike, Pridwin, and Glad Shield. Glad Shield, of course, is adding some extra damage to all of your abilities. You've got nice high protections. It's a really lovely time. Now, I did a little bit better than I was expecting because I'm now just seeing that my gold was really damn high. Again, I did better gold-wise than the entirety of the enemy team. Again, because I'm also killing a certain amount of minions along the way. But yes, Lancelot can be a very potent support. It comes down a lot to how aggressive your early game is. You should be more aggressive than usual, but not, standing on the line of the tower aggressive. That's too much. But you do have that, and you don't want. I've never played a game with support Lancelot where, like I said earlier, Sentinel's Gift, Protector's Mask, or Gauntlet of Thebes worked. Gauntlet of Thebes, I knew before I even tested that likely wasn't going to work. It's too slow for Lancelot. Lancelot is an assassin support. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to get right in there into the middle of it. And that proved to be true. He is not someone I would ever recommend building Gauntlet of Thebes on. But an extension of that is because you are looking for a certain amount of minion kills as well. You don't generally want Sentinel's Gift or Protector's Mask. It did not help because it never made him, even Protector's Mask still didn't make him tanky enough to make it worthwhile. Because you also have to keep in mind that while Lancelot does have all of these forms of crowd control, he's got a cripple, he's got a root, he's got a push, these are very short-lived crowd controls, right? The push is a pretty short push compared to, say, Hercules. Nice long push, stun at the end of it. There is no stun at the end of that push. The root, pretty quick as well. That's a very short root. The cripple, I think it lasts a second, maybe 1.25 seconds. It's not a very long cripple. So Lancelot's main issue as a support is, in fact, not his kit, but the duration of his crowd control. It's a little shorter than I would prefer as a support player myself, but that's, again, why we splash a little bit of damage, so we're contributing a little bit more than these very short crowd controls. That would be what I would say about Lancelot. Very effective, particularly in the early game. I fell off in the mid game, but that's pretty standard for Lancelot. I will definitely be recording another episode of Lancelot support where maybe I don't fall off in the mid game. Maybe we don't have connection issues with one of our players. But again, not a criticism. Astral did absolutely amazing. But, have a full, complete game, and you can see where Lancelot, in slightly better circumstances, doesn't fall off quite so hard in the mid game. Part of that is, of course, some poor decisions. For example, going after the Pyromancer, that was a stupid choice. Yes, I was trying to get it stolen. I shouldn't have tried that. I shouldn't have encouraged Cupid to try that. That was on me. Trying to save Olrin. Did he need it? Maybe. But we'll never know. I'm glad I did it anyways, but probably wasn't the smart choice there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, he is a very unusually powerful support for all of those delightful reasons. So, I hope you give it a try. I do have to warn you, while there is a general awareness of his effectiveness as a support, there are some people that either don't know that he's good in the role, or just don't care. I actually had, just earlier today, actually, during one of my final tests before recording this, I had a Chernabog, and we were winning the lane, right? We had pushed them back. We'd taken the mid Naga. I believe it's a Naga. We took the mid thing. We pushed them back again. We took the side Harpies. And then Chernabog backed. And then Chernabog left. It was the weirdest thing. And Chernabog had been complaining at the beginning of the match that Lancelot is a stupid support. Now, again, hopefully this episode proved otherwise. But just be aware that even though Lancelot can play the role very well, that does not necessarily mean that your allies are going to necessarily be understanding. So you do have to treat this with some caution. But I do encourage you to give it a try, because in terms of supporting, Lancelot is hands down one of the most interesting support experiences right now. Is he my favorite support? No, but he is someone that I would recommend support mains at least know, because he does offer some really unique gameplay strategies. Again, his ability to rotate in the early game, his ability to just get a really powerful shield from both Pridwin and his ult, his decreased basic attack damage when he's off his horse. These all combine into a really unusually good support character who offers you some really unique benefits. So if you're a support main, what I recommend you do, and this is the process I used, I took him into the arena first, did terrible. I expected that. It was my first ever match with Lancelot. I took him to arena to figure out how his kit works, get a feel for his cooldowns on an instinctive level. Because it's one thing to read, oh yeah, his cooldown is 12 seconds. It's another thing to feel it, to know it's coming up. Just by habit. So I took him into the arena to figure his kit out. Did poorly. Not ashamed to admit that. Then I took him into Joust. This is where I first started building him legitimately support. My arena game, I built him damage. I built him wrong for damage, but I learned that after the fact. And in Joust, I was kind of automatically shoved into the support role with him, which was great because that was my intention in the first place. But if you want to at least figure out how to build him support, I recommend taking him to Joust, because most of the time people will assume you're the support anyways, and they're just going to go on ahead and pick the damage, which is, again, if you're going support Lancelot, that's fine. But you can practice your Lancelot builds in the less risky Joust, because again, there's only 3 enemies trying to kill you. And then you take him to Slash, where you can really get a feel for the horse movement speed a lot more, because it's a much bigger arena. You can get a better feel for full team fights that you don't have with Joust. Great place to kind of warm up, and then take him into Conquest, right? It's a totally different ballgame. And that's what I would recommend you do for Lancelot if you intend on playing him support, is take him through that exact line, maybe skip Arena. Only do the Arena if you don't know his kit, if you've never used him before, because at the very least, Arena will break you down very quickly into exactly how you need to play him in order to survive. But if you've played Lancelot before, you can probably skip the Arena match. But I would recommend at least one match in the other modes, just so you can get a feel for building him support and how you want to do it personally. Again, I find this very effective to deal with his high mana costs, and it does really work well for him in the long run. Just watch out for that mid-game. So with that being said, thank you all very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.